Good evening, my dear expats from our office in Munich. So, a lot of you may have had the question in the past for which people does it make sense to deliver the income tax return, who can and also who must file taxes in Germany. And that is a great question. I will be able to answer it in this video. So, as you may have correctly guessed, the Federal German Tax Office makes the differentiation between, on the one side, people who are Pflichtveranlagt, so taxable individuals who must deliver the income tax return, and on the other side, Freiwillig veranlagt, so people who are voluntarily called for delivering the tax return, meaning they can do it, but they must not do it. And if they do not, they incur in no penalization. So now let's get deeper into it using this article. So as you can see here, a large proportion of taxpayers in Germany, both expats and German citizens, choose to submit an annual income tax return or Einkommensteuererklärung to the Federal Tax Office. As you may understand, this of course changes from person to person because you normally submit your income tax return to your precise Finanzamt, depending on the municipality you live and depending also on which economical activity you are undertaking. So, by submitting a tax declaration, you check that you have paid the correct amount of taxes for the previous financial year. And on average, the people who have the option to file the taxes, out of 10 people, 9 who submitted receive finally a refund. And now, cutting to the chase, who must submit the tax return? Who is Pflichtveranlagt? The following people. So, you're obliged to submit it if any of the following situations apply to yourself. So if you are self-employed, if you are a freelancer, or you run your own business. Also, if you have multiple sources of income. What else? If you have received any income from abroad, meaning Auslandseinkünfte. If you are married and have opted for either tax class 3 or 5. Why is that so? Because normally in the tax class 3 you receive the double as much tax breaks as in the tax class number 5, where you have no tax breaks, your spouse is receiving them for you. And in such case, what happens is, as you understand, German tax office always wants to receive your tax file when they know that they can get something back from you. So meaning that you paid too few taxes, and probably by doing such, if they obliged you to do so, then they are gonna get some money back from you. So also, if you have received more than 410 euros worth of welfare benefits, so that's in German called Lohnersatzleistungen, such as, for example, the child benefit, the sickness benefit, the maternity pay, or unemployment benefit. Also, if you are divorced and you or your ex-partner remarries in the same year. What else? Also, if you have received extraordinary income, such as severance payments, in German it's called Abfindung. If you wish to apply for tax deductions, look at this below. And finally, if the tax office sends a letter asking you to submit a tax return, even if none of these previous situations apply to yourself. And what you can imagine is the following. If you deliver your tax return when you are obliged to do so, then there is not going to be any issue. But if you do not, what happens is normally when the deadline comes, the tax offices will automatically, by default, it's a previously predetermined step, they will send you a letter. And in such letter, it will say something like that you have overpassed your deadline and now you must deliver the tax return as soon as possible. And if you do not, what happens is that they will either appraise how many taxes you have to pay back. They will also allow you to submit the tax return, but now you have to pay some interest. It's called in German Verspätungszinsen. And in general, these letters look quite off because they normally come with the warning that you may pay thousands of euros of penalty if you do not deliver it. So at best, if you must deliver the tax return, then do so for the sake of the matter. So, my dear friends, let's look now at another overview for understanding who is obliged to deliver the tax return. And for that, let's divide them in categories of taxable people, meaning employees, the officer, which means the public servants, not really your case, the investors, maybe some of you, expats, also couples, for sure, many of you, entrepreneurs, and finally pensioners. at some point, right? So in the employees, who are we accounting for? So people who have wages or pensions which are taxed according to the tax class 5, 4, or plus factor, or the 6, meaning the people that have more than one employment. Also, the tax office has granted you an allowance for income tax. Excluded here, however, are the lump sums in the event of disability and for surviving dependents, as well as the allowances for children. You had also, in this case, if more than 410 euros additional income, for example, because you're renting, you're doing Airbnb, or you are incurring in self-employment, then as well. What else? If you have received wage compensation for such as short-time work, unemployment, or parental allowance, meaning Elterngeld. What else? Now, for some of you, the investors, if you must pay some church tax for the investments you have done, as well as if the tax office received too little withholding tax or Abgeltungssteuer in 2021, meaning the 25% for all capital gains, plus the solidarity tax. Finally, if you have investment income from abroad, meaning, for example, you have some investment portfolio, you have some depot in another country, you have some stocks from foreign nations, in that case, it counts. Finally, if you are an entrepreneur, then for sure you have to deliver the tax return. You are obliged to it. You have earned income from agriculture and forestry, from freelance work, or any type of business operations. In Germany, called selbstständige Tätigkeiten or gewerbliche Tätigkeiten. So for that, now you have the full picture to understand who must deliver the tax return. And of course, all of the rest of the individuals, of the taxable people are not obliged. Then they have the category of being able to voluntarily deliver the income tax return.